Johnson of the Oosterhout Free Library, and something exciting happened this week. The scientists and engineers at NASA were able to land a rover or robot the size of a car on the planet Mars. It took 7 months to get there and years of NASA scientists and engineers planning and working together to build the rover. Now, this rover also has the first ever helicopter on board, which didn't fly as well at first. But the scientists kept going and persevered, which means to keep going even when things are difficult. In fact, that's the name of the rover, Perseverance. Now we even have some pictures from Perseverance like this. Now, scientists and engineers persevere and keep trying even when the first idea doesn't work. Just like engineer and inventor Lonnie Johnson. Lonnie also worked at NASA as an engineer, but what he's most famous for is for inventing an air-powered water gun called a super soaker. As a kid, Lonnie loved to build rockets. So today we're going to make an air-powered rocket that flies. It's the start of Engineering Week, so today you can be an engineer and build your own paper rocket. But first, we're going to learn a little bit more about this inventor and engineer, Lonnie Johnson, in a biography called Whoosh. Now, a biography is a book about a real-life person. So let's learn a little bit more about Lonnie Johnson.
Whoosh, Lonnie Johnson's super soaking stream of inventions. Written by Chris Barton and illustrated by Don Tate. Published by Charles Bridge. Every day brought a challenge for young Lonnie Johnson. The challenge of finding space for all his stuff. 6 Johnson kids were squeezed into their parents' small house in Mobile, Alabama. Lonnie would have loved a workshop of his own, but there just wasn't room. There was hardly any room for his rocket kits, bamboo shooters, rubber band guns. Lonnie just loved building and creating. Ideas for inventions kept on flowing. He learned how to make rockets from scratch. Kids at school gathered to watch Lonnie launch them. Lonnie wanted to spend his life designing things, building things, and getting them to work. He wanted to be an engineer. Lonnie built his own robot. He made it out of scrap metal and he named it Linux. But he couldn't get a transmitter to work and he wanted to enter it in a science fair. The science fair came and went. He missed one and then another. Then he got the idea. Now, Lonnie may not have asked before he borrowed his little sister's walkie-talkie, but it fixed the transmission issue, and his school's team took the Linux robot to the 1968 science fair at the University of Alabama, where only 5 years earlier, African-American students weren't even allowed. Having to compete in a place that still wasn't very welcoming? Now that was a challenge with a capital C. Against other schools from all over the state, Lonnie's team won first place. Soon Lonnie left home to go to college at Tuskegee Institute. He was known as the guy who could build his own sound system off of old electronics. It even had lights that flashed in sync with the beat. Lonnie was a good student who sometimes studied right in the middle of his own party. Well, that extra studying paid off because he became an engineer after graduation, and that took him beyond Alabama, way beyond. When NASA was sending an orbiter and probe called Galileo to Jupiter, the space agency needed an engineer to help supply power to the orbiter. And the engineer to figure it out was Lonnie. It wasn't easy, it wasn't obvious, but Lonnie found a solution. Some people at NASA doubted his idea would work. Lonnie convinced him that it would, and he was right. Galileo was able to take pictures of Jupiter thanks to the power package that Lonnie designed. Solutions for other problems just kept flowing. They flowed whether he was working at NASA or up late tinkering with his own inventions in his own workshop. Lonnie was working on a new type of cooling system for refrigerators and air conditioners that didn't use chemicals. He had an idea for using water and air pressure instead. To test his idea, he made a pump and nozzle, connected it to the bathroom faucet, turned on the faucet, turned on the pump, and then whoosh! The stream blasted across the bathroom was so powerful it created a curtain-swirling breeze. It also gave Lonnie an idea for yet another invention. This, he thought, would make a great water gun. First, he had to find or make the parts, including a pump small enough for a child to handle. Then he had to test it out. Whoosh! Lonnie needed help making more, so he went to toy company after toy company after toy company. The word no flowed again and again. But finally, one company said yes. It planned to make his water gun. He also had other inventions that were going to be made. He quit his day job and devoted himself to being a full-time inventor. But then things didn't work out as planned. He dealt with challenges all his life, and he knew a lot about solving problems. He still believed in his inventions, so he went looking for another toy company. In 1989, he found a toy maker who was interested, so he made a special trip to Philadelphia and showed them the new prototype, filled the tank with water, pumped the gun until the air pressure was good and high, and whoosh! Wow! Kids everywhere agreed with that. Wow! Lonnie's water gun, called the Super Soaker, became a smash hit. And in no time there were Super Soakers in backyards, on beaches, in parks, and playgrounds. Each sale of a Super Soaker put a little money into Lonnie's pocket. All those hours and years that Lonnie spent in his workshop paid off big time. Now he could afford to do just about anything he wanted. So what did Lonnie do? He got a bigger workshop, which is where you'll find him today, because facing challenges, solving problems, and building things are what Lonnie Johnson loves to do, and his ideas just keep on flowing.
What I like about inventors and engineers like Lonnie Johnson is that they persevere. They don't give up if their first idea doesn't work. Like when Lonnie had to figure out how to power his robot or even the Jupiter orbiter. It took him 10 years to get his Super Soaker into the hands of kids everywhere, and they loved it. I know I sure did. But he didn't stop there. No, he didn't. He now owns the patent, which is like a certificate of ownership, to over 100 inventions and counting. You can be an inventor and engineer too. Today, I'm going to show you how to make 2 different simple air-powered paper rockets. Let's get started with that. You're going to need a square piece of paper that is 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters. I recommend notebook paper because it's a little bit thinner and easier to fold. And it's also has some lines that helps a little bit with the cutting out. So you're going to take that square piece of paper and you're going to fold it in half this way and then in the other direction, half. Then you're going to fold it diagonal this one direction and then diagonal the other direction. Now it'll help if you put some pretty good creases here, because the next part was the only part that was a little tricky. But I put an overhead picture, and it just basically you're going to take the paper like in this diagonal profile and then pinch the sides and squish them together. And if you have nice sharp edges here, then it makes it easy peasy. So then it comes into that one triangle shape. This is where you're going to go ahead and fold it each side to the middle part line right here. And then you're going to do that again. Going to do that one more time. And then you'll repeat that for all of the other sides. When all the other sides are folded over, then you're going to pinch it up and put the fins over like this. And the positioning of the fins might affect a little bit of your path that your rocket goes. But once it's done, you'll have something that looks like this. And you'll want to be able to put your straw in the middle. So you might have to puff out the little side just a tiny bit so that you can put your straw right in the middle. And then 3, 2, 1, blast. You have your rocket. Pretty fun, right? As I said, the links are in the description box below. If you want to try a different type of easy rocket, all you have to do is make your own straw rocket. So I took a piece of paper that was just a little bit larger than the width of the straw, rolled it around, and put some clear tape on the side. Now I decorated before I taped it just to make it a little bit more fancy. And then the top you're going to fold over and tape, and then you should have your rocket right there. Another way to challenge yourself with this rocket is to give it some fins. And you can do that easily with a square piece of paper that you have cut into 2 triangles. You fold over the side of just a little bit, and then tape or glue it to the side of your rocket. Now go ahead and try to fly it again and see if it affects how far it flies. If you liked making those paper rockets and want to make your own paper helicopter, then check out the Mars Science Saturday. Links in the description box below. You'll learn a little bit more about Perseverance and its mission to Mars, and you can make your own paper helicopter. I hope you had fun. Remember to persevere and never give up. See you next time. Bye.